honestly, the way things are moving with AI, it's a matter of time where we'll have the agent kind of crawl our content or crawl our products.
Welcome to Revenue Optimization with StatsDrone. This affiliate marketing podcast is brought to you by Affiliate Track, which is an affiliate link research tool and affiliate finder. And also brought to you by StatsDrone, the best stats and analytics tool for affiliates, agencies, affiliate networks, and affiliate programs. All right, Jason, I saw one of your posts recently on LinkedIn that talked about AX, but before we get into AX and this whole agentic user experience and design, let's start probably from the beginning. So you're a designer, UX designer with Game Lounge, and let's start like, what is design today, and how's everything changed? Because I think it's been like probably a short period of time that we're seeing like a lot of disruption in the UX and design space.
Well, from my perspective, at least, design has evolved from much more than just creating graphics, right, and imagery. I've been in the industry now for quite a bit. I did come from a background of design, but at the same time, I had to adapt to development, website, and product as well. Because the reality is design on its own, it's not going to cut it, when it comes to design itself and how it is perceived within a company, it's just a service, right? It's very rarely you see design being part of the movement. Let's put it this way. However, when design then joins the product side of things, that's where it shines, I would say, because the effort then is measured, it's evolved from graphics then to UI, user interfaces. We then evolved from having the desktop designs to mobile, and that came, with its own set of challenges. Let's put it this way. We had to think responsively. So technically design then became product design. In fact, if you ask most of the designers today, they're probably trying to use like this hybrid scale between actual design, Photoshop, Illustrator, and so forth. Now jumping mainly into main tools such as Figma, and from there, I think we are at a point where we're creating stuff hand in hand with the product side. Because in the end, it's all about the experience, it's all about the product. And that's, I think, where it started for me to then look at the next steps, probably.
Okay. And for me personally, I'm always looking at companies and going, who are they hiring? Like, what is the trend in the jobs happening on LinkedIn? And in the last couple of years, the one thing that started to pop up was I've seen a lot more emphasis on product. So I think years before that, it was design, then user experience design. Now I'm seeing product, which is kind of like a hybrid of skill sets. Do you think like, product is kind of like where things need to be at?
It depends. I do see product as a collaboration with design. Obviously, it's logically to put it under product, hierarchy and structure because, designers do work mostly with developers at this stage. And obviously, we're excluding what we're saying. We're excluding the part where it's, like the visual, the graphics, the banners, because that goes into other departments. But when it comes to design and how things work, I always think that when it comes to titles, right? So we're talking about user experience, we're talking about customer experience, and now even agentic experience, right? It's always about the experience. So technically, should it even just be about the product, or should the experience lead it overall? The product teams obviously focus on the experience, the designers as well. And then obviously we have conversion rate optimization teams that focus on the experience and the journeys together with the UX team. It gets quite vast. So I wouldn't say product on its own should be the movement basically, but it should more be a collaboration. And that's how I see it.
Okay. I want to talk about the controversial stuff, which is I've been watching what's happening on LinkedIn. I've seen more designers saying, hey, I'm looking for work. And even companies saying, hey, this person's talented, but we don't need them anymore. Like they're not saying they don't need them anymore, but I mean, I'm seeing the design space on LinkedIn and X. They're starting to freak out, and I don't blame them because I'm a self-taught designer, and the tools I'm using now for design, they're just insane. I'm like, I feel like 5 years ago, I would have loved to have an army of designers. I would have been like, this is a war chest. Now I'm like, I have that in my AI tool. So what do you think is the new world of design, and how do people, if they want to not just keep a job, but use it so they actually level up, like what do they need to be looking at?
Look, when it comes to AI and design itself, I do see it as a big asset for a designer rather than just something to worry about for a few reasons. One of them for me is since AI was made available to us when it comes to designers, basically in general, I felt like I had more time for creativity rather than execution. And I do see, I've saw the latest Adobe keynote, for example, that they had this Land Rover in the background, and there was this pond with the reflection and everything. And as soon as they erased it, the reflection also was removed in the pond without selecting it. That was mind blowing. So that's the next step, right? So that facilitates the execution. But when it comes to the creativity, then perhaps you can focus on, position the Land Rover better if you don't have time, or, we usually have deadlines which are quite tight. Let's put it this way. It's never things that are needed a couple of days from now, but yesterday as always. So I do think that adds value for us in order to be more creative. So when it comes to then what kind of skill sets these designers should be looking for, look, I'll tell you basically my progression. Okay, I started from simply sketching on a notepad, loving guards, moved up to graphic design because that was the only way I could make money out of my passion. Let's put it this way. Obviously, you could go with art and perhaps try to be the next Picasso, but I don't think that's going to work, at least for me. So once I moved to graphic design, then I started doing designs for some websites. Wanted, obviously, to jump into web design because that's where the money was at. Started doing web design. When you're doing websites, you figure out, oh, you need backends, you need this stuff, because obviously things get more complex. So then you move down to the development side. Automatically, you have all these three skill sets. You become a product designer. So after that, UI is a natural progression for you to focus on. Then if you want to go, you can jump into UX, user experience. And from there, if you want to see the whole holistic thing from a brand perspective, which if you've been a designer, you have the experience for, you jump into customer experience. And I think focusing on brands, products, and UX will eventually give you so much roles that you could tap into. And today, things are becoming very specific, especially in big companies. Certain team has specific product designers doing certain things. I personally now diverted a bit into customer experience, and that brought with it experimentation for me. So obviously looking at KPIs, trying to maximize conversion, because obviously that's why we're designing journeys. So I do see it now kind of from a business point of view as well. So yeah, I mean, that's the natural progression for me, and probably that's how every designer should push it. Not everyone has that passion, obviously, or that hunger, let's call it this way. But yeah, I mean, it's natural to just flowing through that potentially.
Yeah, what you said, I feel like I can relate. Like just as an example, it's like, I'm a self-taught designer where I started with CorelDRAW a long time ago.
Yes.
I got into Photoshop and then I replaced that with, I think, Sketch and then Figma. And then now I'm using a lot of AI tools. And what I'm finding is that back in the day, like if I wanted to design something, I felt like I didn't have the opportunity just to ask designers. I had some friends that I'd send them emails like, hey, what do you think? But now I feel like with AI tools, I can actually take my designs and going, is there a clever way of trying to solve? So I'm basically writing the prompt and saying, I want to achieve this. And I don't even know what this looks like, but I'm actually getting crazy feedback. And I'm just wondering, am I the only one doing this? And I'm not thinking I'm smart by any means, but I'm just experimenting, throwing stuff on the wall, and the stuff I'm getting back, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not reading the stuff on LinkedIn or Twitter in the design communities.
Look, I tell you one thing. The company recently initiated a hackathon for most of the employees, and I haven't developed in quite a bit. When it comes to web design, um, and they introduced us to Lovabit, which it was a tool. So vibe coding was, let's just put it this way, was just incredible for me. Like, imagine a designer, right? Which I have experience of code, but at the same time, this thing was generating stuff. In a day, I've built a whole prototype that I could easily show to clients or to potential CEOs and say, listen, could be the way we go. Just, obviously because you have these ideas coming out and you're just materializing everything at once. It was so refreshing, honestly. So I found that quite incredible, and I got even more excited about it.
Yeah. Something that I think I've noticed as well. You must see this all the time where you look at another affiliate's or competitor's website and you're like, okay, they have a very good UX designer, but there's no customer experience behind this because you're like, design, check. Uh, Passion and soul is just missing. It's dead. And I don't want to name those sites, but you must look at them all the time and going, what are these companies doing?
Look, sometimes when I look at competitors, it's a love and hate relationship. I'll give you the reason why, because some of them don't look the parts and they really are nailing it when
Yeah.
it comes to traffic conversion. Because obviously, as affiliates, we focus mainly on SEO, PPC. I think for the past perhaps couple of years, I focused solely on optimization and I put kind of design just aside, So I focus on that first, and then I see what I can make things pretty, So, and I do see that most of competitors are throwing stuff out there, just trying stuff out and see what works and worry about the design later.
Yeah.
And I think in the end, conversion is key, right? It is annoying as from coming from a designer as well. Like, it shouldn't be this way, why this is working. But at the same time, you have to keep up with the competition. So yeah.
But what I personally believe to be true as someone who spent a lot of time in trying to rank sites and having to spend more time on the conversion side than the design side, I actually think when you build a better product, it's becoming part of the new framework for how does Google respect you? How does Google know that you're worth mentioning in AI overviews? How do people link to you? It's, I think when you build a better product, you're starting to get things that are not as tangible, like word of mouth or people sending links to your product to other people, which are customers. And that's kind of like the metric I think that we all aspire to, but sometimes they're very difficult to measure.
Yes, it's let's just put it this way. When it comes to affiliation, right? Google, I think, using the Your Money Your Life
Yeah.
initiatives, and all that. I think it's helping us even from a customer and user experience point of view. So we're not, not we're not, we are distancing ourselves more from the wild west that gaming was at one point, and then we're becoming more like this product or this brand that needs to be perceived by the users. And that's where AX would jump in and kind of, without this, without Your Money Your Life, without the content being, addressing all the issues and concerns and basically meeting the user requirements, you wouldn't be able to step into the next step, right? So definitely it's something that we're changing into. It doesn't work on every market, I have to be honest. But for me, obviously the value is in the brand, is in building a product that works well, and the user want to use. Definitely.
All right. So that sets us up for what is AX? I mean, it stands for, I think, Agentic Experience. It's the first time I've heard about this in a week ago, but I have been studying agentic agents for different projects. Tell us what we're talking about.
I mean, from my point of view, it's always all very new to me, right? I've been looking into user experience for quite a while, and honestly, the way things are moving with AI, it's a matter of time where we'll have the agent kind of crawl our content or crawl our products. Okay, and that's what agentic experience is. It's basically doing UX, but for the agent rather than the user. This kind of goes into quite a few parts. Let's put it this way, because there is some assumptions at the moment of how this is working, and also how you're going to execute it, right? Because obviously, for example, when we do look at our data, we have bots, we just focus on the user, we just make sure, that our experiences are making the user. But by doing that, are we unintentionally blocking in these users that are using these experiences, right? And these agents? So this is one of the concerns, for example. I think when it comes to these agents, the goal is for them to make sure that they are crawling to your content the same as a user would. For example, if you create a journey just for them, would you need buttons? Not really. Would you need visual elements? Depends. If the user is interacting everything by voice or via their own chat, and this is feeding into this information, then it's another story. But obviously, this started creating some issues. I don't know if you know about Google Zero, for example, where Gemini, ChatGPT, and any other content are getting all these results from us, from our sites, from our content. And that's basically a concern. So with this in mind, we will eventually become an agent as a brand that holds information that a user can access, to get what they want. Yeah, it's quite, as you said, quite a bit of a rabbit hole, basically, that we're going into. But, a lot of concerns will come as we go, I'm sure.
Do you think that would lead to people creating markdown files for every page they have? Like, I think I'm actually seeing some sites do this. When I look at them, I'm like, okay, I know they're doing it programmatically and automatically, which is great. That's also kind of a lot of work, I think.
You know how we kind of do for SEO when it comes, putting our site maps, in an XML file and making sure Google is scrollable, these pages to Google Console and so forth. I do think it will work the same way, obviously through a different type of file, code or whatever. If it's not through our site, it could be, built in through this agent that, will be accessible from different, I don't know, platforms, apps or whatever. And this is just obviously a hypothetical assumption from my side. But yeah, I mean, I tried to ask ChatGPT how this would work, and it started already coding some stuff in a language where I believe it was using React of some sort, React TypeScript for sure, where it's starting saying, oh, look, if an agent crawls through this, this is the way they should go. This is the options you could give it, and for them to kind of end up, I don't know, on the operator side, for example, I don't know. But yeah, it's as I said, like it's very new and fresh, and at the same time, interesting.
Yeah, I've seen a few people post this, I think, on Facebook and LinkedIn. So I think after this recording, I'm probably going to do the same thing. I'm going to go back to Claude and I'm going to ask the same question, big. Hey, this is how people use our site currently. But if we were to kind of try to make this AX friendly, what does this look like and what should we consider? And I'm sure I'm probably going to get a lot of good ideas and feedback on it.
Because we need to consider that down the line, will users interact with search engines anymore? Will they just interact with those blue links? I don't believe so. I think, especially ChatGPT launching their own Chrome browser, kind of copycats and kind of, how it is with ChatGPT, for example, you can add your own agents, your own models. I do believe that brands will be able to create product like that. I've been looking, in fact, researching this. That Expedia already has their own agent that you could use, to build your travel plans. So perhaps, as affiliates, we'll become having our brands in there that user can search, use it, to make sure they get the right leads and the right stuff, for example, on the operators. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's where it seems to be heading. I don't know.
Well, it's funny. You just said, I'm not sure. But at the same time, as you just finished that whole sentence, I'm like, you've just changed the priority in our company for next year. Something we were going to do anyways, but it's now going very high up to the top because I'll just tell you exactly what it is. So we're an app for affiliates to help get their data. Okay, that's step one. So by nature, we have all these affiliate program reviews. And what we've realized is that a lot of our customers, they're actually doing searches more on the brands. So we have everything. We start from the affiliate program and then it's the brands are a subset, but they're actually searching more for the brand than they are the affiliate program. Well, the thing that we want to do next is we want to be like, well, what is useful for an affiliate to search inside of our app? And one of the examples we believe to be true would be like, well, what are the bonuses available in each market? So that's a lot of data. That's data that you have on your side that's in your entire ecosystem. But we have to do this for, I think, 4,000 affiliate programs, that's a lot of data. We're planning to do it anyways, but we think that by doing this, this is a total AX play right here. It's a perfect example for it.
That's a perfect example, exactly, because obviously you're shifting some of your strategy into this, right? And I do believe that when it comes to this, when it comes to AX, it's not something that should, just replace whatever we're doing. I think it's part of the innovation process. So it should be its own lane, kind of going in line with the day to day. And including that and including how AX is evolving for us. As I said, for example, I was looking at the Amazon app very recently, and they including this chatbot that, it's a very prominent icon on the top right, if you never saw it. And when I interacted with it, I just asked a question, so giving me products. So I see bonuses, for example, could work the same way. But at the same time, they clearly stated, it's better, right? It's beta, and it's under works. So probably Amazon are not even sure about that themselves. What hit me there was, when it comes to the brand, was that they use a different name rather than, for example, using Alexa. They call them Rufus. And potentially because of its face, they didn't want the big product with it. But I read, with some research, I've read that they've done it just so it's a different product, and potentially when it comes to our brand, we'll have these little agents, that kind of do specific things. So it doesn't have to be just one, where, you could basically drill down all that information to them, and the user could pick, oh yes, I want bonuses, I want, top casinos, top slots, whatever, and all the information could be drilled down through that.
Okay.
No, this is amazing.
Right?
Yeah. So maybe just to kind of go back to that controversial topic, it's what should designers be doing if they want to not just keep their job, but kind of thrive and grow in the new world of design and user experience and agents?
I think adopt AI, be open to it. When it comes to AI, when you speak to most designers, they immediately go, Journey, and Nano Banana, whatever. But it's more to that. I do believe even Figma now are even introducing a lot of AI features, and they're starting to monetize on that as well, which is very smart. So whatever you try to do, I think AI is going to be part of our life as we go. It already is with simple inputs for most of us. But I think if we start learning how to make our execution faster, we'll become better designers, because, what sets us apart is the creativity. And the AI, it is creative, you can't deny it. But at the same time, you still need some input from your side to make that final vision happen, right? So I do believe, adapting AI 100%. And focus on user experience more, focus on what works for the users, what makes them tick, their pain points, and then just use AI to facilitate that process.
Awesome. Jason, thank you so much for doing this. I want to pass it back to you. How can people get a hold of you?
Sure. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. We can chat there, and, usually I share some things here and there. But happy to connect through LinkedIn.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm glad you shared what you posted last week. I got super excited reading it, and looking forward to chatting a bit more and kind of keeping on top of what is happening in the layers when it comes to design, UX, CX, AX. And hopefully it stops there, but I mean, it's keeping us pretty busy as is.
Well, yes, I hope so. It stops there, but from experience, they always start adding some new roles there. I think what's important, as I said, experience is always kind of in the end. It's always there. So focus on experience, and probably will be future proof.
Awesome. Thank you, Jason.
Right. Thanks so much, John. Thanks.
That was a great episode with Jason Attard, Director of CX and Optimization at Game Lounge. And I think the topic he talked about today was possibly very advanced. It's probably 1 to 2 years, maybe even 3 years ahead of its time, where we have agents that actually do work for us. If you can tell an agent what you need done, like research or getting data from a website and doing it on a schedule, I mean, this is what agents are about. So it's not just making products and websites and applications for users, it's actually making them for agents. And I've already heard that agents in the next couple of years are going to really take off, and I've got a lot of friends that are actually building a lot of agents as we speak. Speaking of agents and cool stuff, check out our website, revenueoptimization.io. We've built a really cool new website built with AI, and we're looking to add more features to make this a unique podcast website that you've not seen before. And once again, thank you for listening. If you get a chance, give us a rating or a review wherever you listen to your podcast. And looking forward to catching you on the next show. And once again, check out StatsDrone.com and as well affiliatetrack.io to level up and do your affiliate link research and find all the affiliates on the internet.